Now let's answer this question. 2024, question 7, part B. Examine how the desire for upward social mobility is portrayed in short stories in your syllabus. Choosing one written by a woman and the other by a man. Identify and analyze the differences, if any, in the representation of this theme in these two texts. So, we can use here Evelyn by James Joyce and The Things Around Your Neck by Shimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Right? Remember names very clearly. Yeah? Names, how to write the names of the writers. If you write mistakenly, that will also be a reason for deduction of marks. Write like this, starting. In order to examine the desire for upward social mobility, among the prescribed texts, Evelyn by James Joyce and The Things Around Your Neck by Shimamanda Ngozi Adichie can be taken. Yes. This intention for upward social mobility is described in the short story Evelyn by James Joyce through the protagonist Evelyn as a victim of the moral paralysis which the writer interprets interprets as a psychological theme which also reasons the failure of implementing decision that Yulin the 19-year-old girl at last fails in keeping her promise to her boyfriend to elope with him on the night boat. Hari. Of course, Yulin as a girl desires upward social mobility since her life is tremendously pathetic and she is a victim of hardworking and isolation. Yes. That is why she wishes to promote her social mobility as the wife of Frank in Buenos Aires. ඒ වචනේ හරියට පාඩම් කරගන්න මේ අගනුවර ආජන්ටිනාවේ බියුනොස් අයිරෙස්. Yes. Being a girl, she believes that she also has a right for happiness without letting herself facing the tragedy that her mother faced. Yes. The Italian street organ player reminds her of her mother's sad death on one evening, and she expedites her decision to leave home, and then she is met at the boat station in the evening. Yes. Though she fails at the end, her desire to upward her social mobility remains the same. Yes. Her failure is resulted by the common psychological inferiority which Joyce interprets as mm, moral paralysis, which is a common condition of the Irish Irish race, race, new para. The same theme of the desire for upward social mobility could be identified in the short story The Thing Around Your Neck by Shimamanda Ngozi Adichie, the Nigerian writer, through its protagonist, Akuna, the young girl who migrates to America in a visa lottery ticket and returns to Lagos after several months as a victim of a failure in fulfilling her desire. Yes. In comparison with, here mention, identify and analyze the differences, if any. Yes. In comparison with Evelyn, this protagonist exercises her desire to her best, but being stranger in America, she could not face the scandalous lifestyle of America alone. Yes. It is not possible to apply the psychological condition of moral failure for herself failing in this manner, for herself failing in this manner. Yes. Mm. Eulene's desire for upward social mobility is her isolation, marginalization, negligence, and tedious and monotonous existence in her unencouraging living environment, but Akuna's desire is to add add race, rays, race to her, sorry, rays of light to her otherwise gloomy environment. Yes. Her extreme poverty, her extreme poverty compels her to migrate to America and promote the life condition of her family that lives in poor house. Yes. Evelyn chooses a way of marriage as the means for that as the means for that while 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 Akuna chooses the means of finding a good employment opportunity in America. Yes. The poverty of her family is described as uh, she lived in a room in Lagos with her father and mother, and her three siblings and her visitors have to lean against the unpainted walls because there are no enough chairs to sit. Yes. Akuna goes through many hardships in America, beginning with her relative uncle attempting to abuse her. Yes. She leaves the place strong-minded and determined to face whatever circumstances might stand in front of her. Yes. Therefore, there is a salient difference between Evelyn and herself. Yes. Evelyn could have easily access to a high social mobility if she left with Frank, since Frank really wanted to stretch his hands to Evelyn with thorough affectionate and love. Yes. Nevertheless, Akuna has no anyone to help her, and the young man who came closer to her life did not really want to help her in promoting her life. Yes. However, she tries her best to persuade her desire, but she is disappointed on hearing the accidental death of her father. Death of her father. Yes. What she could do only is spending money for her father's funeral. Funeral. Right. New para. New para. When analyzing these two short stories in a scrupulous, scrupulous, scrupulous manner, we could find differences mm, in this theme of desire for the upward social mobility. Yes. Evelyn falls into a general psychological complication while Akuna faces societal barricades. No, barriers, societal barriers. Yes. Both female characters meet frustration at last in two different manners. Right. Sanita, did you write?
Sir,
Yes.
mm, in order to examine the desires of for upward social mobility among the prescribed text evident by James Joyce thinks around the Shime Nadosias can be taken. This this is intention for upward social mobility is describes in a short story Evelyn by James Joyce throughout the protagonist Evelyn as a victim of the moral paralysis which the writer interpreted as a psychological theme which also reasons the failure of the implementing in decision that Evelyn, the 9 years old girl, at last fails in keeping in her promises. Her boyfriend Frank eloped with him on the night boat. Of course, Evelyn as a girl desires upward social mobility since her life is tremendously pathetic and she is victim of a hard-working and isolation. That is why she wishes to promote a social mobility as a wife of Frank in Beyond's arrives. Being a girl, she believes that she also has a right for happiness without letting her self-facing tragedy that her mother explains by his race. The same thing of the desires of upward social mobility could be identified in the short story Ring Around Your Neck by Shimanda Nagishi of Nigerian writer to his Akuna, a young girl who migrated to America in visa lottery ticket and returned to largest of the source as a victim of fail in fulfill her desires in comparison with Evelyn. This protagonist exercised her desires to her best, but a stranger in America, she could not face the candles life of America alone. It is not a possible to a psychological condition of moral failure for herself. Fail in the manner Evelyn describes upward social mobility is isolation, intelligence, thinness, and monotonized extinct in unencouraging living environment, but Akuna's desires race for gloomy environment. Her extreme poverty compels her to migrate America and life condition of a poor house. He chooses way of marriage while Akuna chooses the miles of funding got employment opportunity in America. The poverty of her family is described as she lived in a room largest with her father and mother and her three siblings, and her visitors have to learn against the unpainting walls, becoming there are non-encourages chairs to sit down. Akuna goes to the mean hard begin with her relative uncle applying to abuse her. She lives the play strong mind and determine whatever substance stand in front of her. There is a slight difference between Evelyn and herself. Evelyn could have success to high social mobility if she left with Frank, since Frank regularly want to stream his hand. Evelyn with a thorough accustomed and love. Nevertheless, Akuna has known anyone to help her, and the young man come to closer to her life didn't to really want to help promoting her life. However, she strives her best to pursue her desires, but she is disappointed of her of hearing the death of her father. What she could do only is spend money for his father's funeral. When analyzing these short stories in Sabrina's manner, we could find difference in these themes of desires for the upward social mobility. Evelyn fails to general psychological complication while Lacuna faces social barricades. Both female characters meet frustration at the two different manner.
Right, okay. Give me 5 minutes, and next we are discussing this one. Number 8, C1. Okay.